If you are an AMD fan, and especially if you're somebody that has invested in AMD, then you are likely living life very well right now with a big smile on your face knowing that Big Red is on the comeback. In fact, 1 year ago, AMD's stock was trading at about $4.50, and today it is up to about $12.50 right now. So what is the deal, and why is AMD's stock still going up? We've already seen Ryzen come out, and we already know a lot about Vega. Well, first and foremost is the cryptocurrency craze that's going on right now, and I did a video talking about why AMD's cards are so expensive right now, and you can click the card for that. But the short of it is that AMD's cards are really efficient at mining cryptocurrency, and because of that, they are sold out pretty much everywhere because miners are buying them up as soon as they hit the market. Now for AMD, that just means they are not holding on to graphics cards, they're not staying in stores, they're getting sold as quickly as they can be produced, and that is leading probably to, at least I would think, a very good bottom line for AMD, at least on the graphics card side right now. Another reason for AMD's surge in the last day or so has been the announcement from Apple that they are including high-end Radeon cards, again we're talking about those graphics cards, in their upcoming iMac SKUs, which again is just putting AMD's branding out there more in front of another company that may have liked to have been in on that, and that would be of course Nvidia. Now one of the reasons that AMD really likes this, especially on the high end, is because those high-end cards tend to be the higher margin cards. So obviously having a high margin part inside of an already high margin product like an iMac, especially on the high end, is going to give AMD a nice little boost on their video card side of things. So what about the CPU side of things? Because AMD has had Ryzen and everyone loves Ryzen, but has that made a really big measurable impact on their stock price? Well, it's sort of hard to say with investors being sort of fickle, and obviously you can't separate these different storylines into individual components. Obviously, AMD selling more graphics cards is gonna make investors a lot more confident, as well as a very high-profile product launch like the iMacs from Apple, giving investors even more confidence. But on the CPU side, you may have noticed recently that Intel has been catching a lot of flack for their X299 chipset. Well, there's an obvious reason that X299 seems to have been hustled out a little bit by Intel, and that is in response, or at least probably in response, to AMD's announcement that they would have the up to 16-core Threadripper architecture on the X399 chipset, which obviously is not the same as the current Ryzen lineup on the X370 chipsets or the B350 chipsets. That being said, Threadripper is set to challenge Intel for the first time in a very long time, over a decade by the way, on the very high end of things. So Threadripper, with its 16 cores and 32 threads of power, is really gonna put the nails down on those higher core count Intel processors that have really been the only dog on the block in that market. In addition, the Ryzen architecture is starting to enter a couple different platforms that we haven't seen it yet. For example, we have mini ITX boards now coming out from manufacturers. BioStar already has one, and ASRock is coming out with its own ITX variant. We're also seeing notebooks that are starting to put Ryzen processors and AMD video cards into a mobile platform that is, just a laptop. You can take it on the go with you. So that's a whole new segment of the market that AMD hasn't really been in, at least on the higher end of things again, for a very long time, and that's another segment they're entering with the Ryzen platform. So stocks are largely a cumulative thing. You can't really split off any of these individual stories, but AMD has really been riding this wave of very good press and very good opinions just across the board on all of their products, and as well as Apple sort of latching onto them. All these things combine into a stock price that looks like it's on the low side of things and is probably going to continue to go up, at least for the near future. So if you're somebody that had invested in AMD back when it was below $2, why wasn't I that smart? Then you may want to go ahead and hang on to that stock for at least a little bit longer, because the odds are that it won't drop a whole lot below what it currently is. And it looks like, at least according to the press and according to my own gut feeling based on all these positive things happening around AMD, you would think that AMD's stock price still has a little bit of room to grow. So if you are in it for the long run, then you are looking good on AMD's side. So hopefully you enjoyed that piece of content. If you did, give me a like, share, subscribe, and comment down below and tell me, did you invest in AMD back when their price was below $5? And if you did, have you sold off yet? You can also follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Hoosier Hardware. They're the same tag for your convenience. And as always, guys, we'll queue up a couple more videos from YouTube from my channel for you to watch. I'm Shane with Hoosier Hardware, and I'll see you in the next video.